My name is Michael Mumba. I am the owner of AB Fitness, so I'm also known as Mike Abs.
When did you first come to Ireland?
I came to Ireland in 1998. 1997, sorry. We came to Ireland first. Actually, the first story about Ireland, before we came to Ireland, my father asked myself and my two brothers what country we want to go to, Belgium or Ireland. And we looked in a map, in a history book, and we checked the girls from this country, the girls from that country, and the Irish girls looked hot. So we said, we picked Ireland. And when we first came to Ireland, we actually lived in Dunleary first, which was right beside the pier. It was absolutely amazing. We stayed there for a couple of months while we were trying to get home housed. And we stayed in a B&B type of place right beside the pier, absolutely amazing. And then so we went from there to Jobsound. So it was a massive, massive change.
Why did you get into fitness?
The reason why I go into fitness, like I think like a lot of young kids, it's they want to look better, they want to feel better. I'm lucky enough that I have good genes, and I think a lot of black people do have good genes. But the only problem is I was always defined. I was always defined, but I wasn't big. I always suffered with, no, I could say suffer. I always had a really, really horrible appetite, so and high metabolism, so I could never put on any weight. So the reason for me to get into fitness was pretty much just to put on base size. I always had a six pack there, but I just needed to put on base size so I can feel better. Yeah, so.
When did you realise fitness was your passion?
I think that's happened in the last couple of years. I think passion is something that everybody has, and it's probably one of the hardest thing to find because when you have passion for something, you do it so naturally that you don't even realize it's actually something that you have. You know that kind of way. If so, I went through a really tough time with regarding addiction, regarding my relationship, and the only thing that kept me sane was training. And at the time, I was also training other people. I was going through a tough time, but I was still getting joy from seeing myself helping somebody else. So that's when I started recognizing that this is something that I truly love. Even when times are tough, I'm still enjoying doing it. That's why I say about people working jobs. When you work in a certain job, if you're not enjoying it, try and figure out what your passion is so you can because when you, as they say, if you do something that you love, it's never gonna feel like you're working. You know.
What was your biggest fear of starting your own business?
Like everybody else, it's the fear of how am I gonna pay my mortgage. It's the fear of is it gonna work. It's the fear of am I good enough. And I I have such a big belief in myself, but yeah, at the same time I fight with myself because obviously suffering with uh, being dyslexic that held me back out my whole life. Like any job that I've worked, I've always kind of worked extra hard so they didn't recognize that I had a problem with reading or spelling. So I used to do things physically. I'm hands on, but when it comes to writing, even back in school, I was starting arguments in the class, so I'd, just to avoid getting into that situation. So the hardest part was starting the business wasn't as hard, but doing the course so I can get a qualification for this business was it held me back for a year or two. It was actually one of my friends that actually put me in a position where I had no choice but to better myself. He pointed out to me that for me to go forward in life with this business, I needed to go and do the course so I can do it properly instead of doing it with no course at all.
And you speak openly about having had an addiction problem in the past. What do you think made you realise that you needed to stop?
I think when it came to addiction, I always known from day one that it was bad. I always known that it was something that I didn't want to do. But again, it becomes an addiction for a lot of people. Addiction becomes an addiction for a lot of people because it's that escapism. You know it's bad. You know you wanted to stop, but it's the pain of living day to day and what's going on in your life that kind of pushes you to it. But after I did the TV show Hell Week, that kind of opened my eyes to fear. I think I was running away from what's gonna happen if I face my fear. And after I did that show, it pretty much changed my life. I understood that okay, I have to stop this. So I have to go through the pain of stopping and walking away from it, so I can find my happiness. And that happiness is with the fitness, is or waking up sober, doing stuff, talking to people. Even I don't need a mask. A mask will be the drug for me. I don't need to be drunk to talk to people. I don't need, So I think that was it.
If you had a time machine, what would you change?
If I had time machine, what would I change about my past? The one thing I would change is that I want to be more closer with my family. There's 8 of us in the family, and for some reason, I don't know how my other brothers feel about it, but me personally, I've always felt like they're outside of the family. Now, the last couple of years, the last 3 years, there's been a massive bond between myself and the family. Not 100%, but for years, I separated myself from the rest of the family, and that's something that if I could go back, and it wasn't something that they did. I think maybe I felt I was better than them, or it was 100% me trying to prove something to myself. Or maybe I'd never felt good enough. I don't know what it was, but I did intentionally push myself away from them. But it's only a couple of years that I realize if anything was ever to go wrong in my life, they're the only people that are going to be beside me. So if I can go back, that's one thing I'll change. I'll be closer to them.
If you could give your 10-year-old self advice,
Mm.
what would it be?
I think I'd probably tell him is, I know people say this, but it's going to be okay. Stop overthinking, because anything that I've done in the past, I've always been scared that it's not gonna work, it's gonna go wrong, I'm not good enough. How am I gonna live next year? Yeah, no, just stop overthinking, because it's working. I say it's working, so I would go back and tell him it's gonna be okay. Stop overthinking shit. Just chill, have fun, and be a kid. Stop overthinking about being dyslexic. Stop overthinking about where you're gonna work. Stop overthinking where you're gonna live. Because it's gonna be okay, and it is okay.
So what's your goal for 2023?
My goal for 2023 is to keep building myself, to keep on making people happy, to keep on making myself happy. Hopefully, to find love down the line somewhere. I think I'm getting close. But yeah, I'm in such a good place now. I can't even ask for anything better. I think just carry on what I'm doing now and pushing forward with that. That's it. You know.
Well, thank you for doing 7 questions with my ghost.
Thanks. I'm Mike Gabs.